Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to look at the NRL Sportsdeck Dream Team. So I guess probably the third most popular in terms of NRL fantasy games after SuperCoach and NRL Fantasy. But it is an interesting concept, excuse me as I've got an itchy nose, with the sort of format. So when you look at it, it's very Supercoach in look and feel. Things like the 42 trades. I think NRL Supercoach has 46 trades, so it is a slight discount there. But it does use the NRL fantasy positioning. So you do have distinct centers, and then you have wing fullbacks. So it's sort of halfway between the two more popular formats. The scoring is a bit different as well. So that does add a little extra layer or wrinkle to the game. But I thought I'll introduce, I guess, the initial sort of team setup that I've got. Um, you know, set up the league codes and stuff if you wanted to have a go. But yeah, we'll get stuck in. So at hooker, going to start with Marshall King. So generally, where he can, you want to start Harry Grant. But again, because this is a bit different, I do like to have slightly different picks in this format, just to say that I've picked them, I suppose. And Marshall King is definitely the one that I'm keen on after Harry Grant. Um, Obviously, a bit discounted due to the shoulder injuries last year, and that may impact him this year. We don't really know yet, but he has proven over the last couple of years. He's sort of end run there at the Dogs, and then last season when he was on field for the Dolphins, that he is an elite hooking option. The Dolphins do also have the advantage of playing in all three major bye rounds, and obviously Marshall King being of New Zealand origin suggests that he will be available for all that as long as he's not injured. So a really great option to hold during the Origin period. We're just getting on him a bit earlier because we can. And on the bench, I've gone with Brendan Hands. So Jaden Brayley is a bit more expensive in this format. So we're going to go with the Parramatta option, whether that's Hands or Lussick. Just waiting to see who gets the nod. It looks like they want to play an 80-minute hooker. So we'll put Hands in for now, but if it's Lussick, we'll easily trade him across. In the front row, we're going big. I wanted to do this in Supercoach, but I chickened out essentially. But in this format, we can afford Payne Haas and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. So we've locked them in. Payne Haas, you can see, is pretty much the most expensive player outside of Hines in theory. So obviously the value is built into his work rate and how well he scores in this format. And Big Tino, as you can see, is a bit down on Payne Haas, but still a quality producer in this format of the game. On the bench, we've gone with Sam Hughes, bit of preseason hype. Hopefully he gets a spot there at the Dogs. And just due to finances, we've gone with young Takura. Bit of hype about him at the Broncos. They've suggested he won't probably play round one, but he will get a run during the season. And you know what? That's good enough for me at this point, so we've locked him in. Sean Bloor in the second row, playing for the Storm. Playing outside of Munster, hopefully, would be some great value. Josh Curran, is going to appear in every team essentially because of his work rate and runs on the board and his awesome value there. And, he should get a big minute role at the Dogs. Pia Cora at 406 is good value if he gets that starting edge spot at the Broncos. And then Duncan, if he can get that starting edge spot at the Rabbitohs at 363, he's locked in. Smithy sounds like he's going to get the starting lock roll until at least Horsburgh comes back in round 4. So he's locked in. Piers Paul, latest news I heard on him is he is actually going to have a surgery. So it may limit his impact at the start of the season. But as I've said in the Supercoach video, if we just consider him to be a slow burn option, then, eventually I think he will work his way into that starting spot and then his price and points will go from there. So essentially we're just saving ourselves the trade. In the halves, so you can see we've got 4 half slots. The temptation is to go big on like all the big halves. Last year we had Hines, Cleary, and Sean Johnson, and it was pretty awesome. But we're going to go with Hines and Cleary to start, and then some value on the bench with Jaden Campbell, who has the wing fullback dual position, and Fino, who hopefully gets to start there at the Tigers. In the centres, again, we're going super cheap, similar to NRL Fantasy, as generally the centres don't score as much as the other positions. So Bostock's named in the centres, despite sounding like he's going to get the wing spot at the Dolphins. So at 239, if he's starting, we've locked him in. Ethan Strange is a popular centre hope at the Raiders. Same with Iro at the Sharks. And Folletti is a chance of getting the start at the Tigers. Particularly now Nofaluma's out. That's an extra sort of three-quarter wing centre spot that hopefully he can fill. And then because we've got wing fullbacks, we've gone with the fullback heavy. So again, you can't do this in SuperCoach. Probably not worth doing it in fantasy. Arguably not worth doing in Sportsdeck Dream Team either. But we don't care. So Ponga, Latrell, and Tommy Turbo as the back three is pretty beast, I think. And then Blake Taff and K.A. Weeks on the bench. Taff especially, I do like if he gets the job at the Dogs at fullback. Weeks, he's a nice sort of flip option with Campbell. So he does provide some flexibility, even if, he does get only the starting 5'8" spot. I say only at 240k, that will sort of represent value, but I think you'd want fullbacks as much as you can in this section. So I guess realistically, this is our wing fullback line. Loaded up with fullbacks, but it makes the bench in the halves look quite weak. So we'll just share the love by putting Campbell back up there. So that's the team. In terms of the league, it's a public league I need to get out of. I'm not interested in public leagues. But we'll get on. I keep going to invite when the league code's up here. So it's 517491. I'll obviously add this link into the description of the video as well. So you can just click on that and jump on and have a go at Sportsdeck. Like I said, it's something a little bit different. Again, if you just want to use it as a bit of a meme team and, throw in some left field options, have a laugh, that's fine. That's essentially what I'm going with. But yeah, just something a bit different. It's NRL, it's fantasy related, so get on board. But we'll wrap the video up there. So as usual, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below the video. Give us a like if you do enjoy, something a bit different from NRL Fantasy and NRL Supercoach. Or obviously, if you don't like it, I think there's a dislike button. Make a comment saying you don't like it, or just ignore it. It's all the same. But as usual, subscribe for all the fantasy content we've got. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.